What's going on, everyone? It's GadgetsBoy, and we're out here in Sweden, Gothenburg, just having a look at Zeekr. This is Zeekr 1, and this is the latest electric car from Geely Group, who also owns Volvo and Lynk & Co, Lotus, you name a few of those car brands right there. And straight away, if you know about Lynk & Co, you will see some resemblance of Lynk & Co 5 with a day running lights here that we can see on this car. But generally, the car looks really good. Got some little hints of a Panamera Porsche, if you look at it from the side view. But this is a luxury shoot and brake car, basically a station wagon. And it looks amazing. I actually really like this color. You got a set of 22-inch alloys on here. It comes in 3 different trim levels. So you have the long range, the performance, and also you have a privilege one, which is a strange name to have. But the privilege one gives you the full whack, the full experience in terms of technology, the design, including this 22-inch alloys that you get on this one. Let's talk about this design, and then we'll get inside as always, look at the space, look at the technology inside, and for the first time actually, instead of just being in the studio today, we actually get to take one of these on the road and drive it as well. Let's start with the design. This is actually the day running lights on top of this bit here, which I kind of like, it's different. And then we get to our LED light here, which has those singular form that we've seen before on some of the cars. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 there. Moving on, we have our Zeekr logo on here, which is nice and subtle. It's got this like red hint all around it, depending on which angle you're looking at it from. And then we get so many cameras all around the car because this actually has over 21 ADAS system in the car. So this should be really safe, and coming from the same group as Volvo and stuff like that, we expect full safety here. So this is running on a different platform. So it's called the SEA platform, which is new as well. They've improved from the previous platform that they used to use. So things like the chassis and everything else has been improved on, and it's very, very compliant when it comes to Europe. By the way, this is ready for pre-order in Sweden and the Netherlands, and hopefully we'll see it in the UK next year. When it comes to the pricing, the long-range version is going to start from around 59,000 euros and then goes up to the next performance version, which will cost you around 62,000 euros. And this privilege version, you're looking at around 67,000 euros. We'll put all the accurate numbers on the screen so you can check on the pricing. Moving over to the side of the car, so we see that Panamera look, like I was saying earlier, but that's aside, you do get your cameras all around this. So there's like one there, there's one there, there's one there. So plenty of cameras around this vehicle. You also get the recessed door handle as well, which adds to that 0.23 drag coefficient that this car is capable of. For security, underneath here, we also have a little fingerprint sensor, which is pretty cool. And you get the short overhang on the front and the back as well. It's kind of sloped down towards the back as well. It doesn't affect the headroom inside. I've sat inside and I'll show you that as well. The LED lights on the tail lights kind of wraps around the side, which looks really cool. You got Zeekr logo just written on the side there. Interesting fact for you, the KR there actually reminds me of Swedish money, which is a krona, as well as krypton on the periodic table, which is the krypton, which is normally used in like high-speed photography and also light bulbs and all that kind of stuff. So it's got lots of like hidden messages in the actual name itself, and then the EE in there's like electrified. Anyway, I digress. And then we'll move on to the back of the car. We got the 001 there. I did ask them what's going to happen when it gets to the 007, you know, James Bond franchise. What's going to happen there? They're going to have to fight with those guys, or they might not use it at all, who knows? Or just let it coincide with a new James Bond movie. Who knows what's coming up? There's another camera there for your reversing system. There's another camera right there as well. Loads of sensors all around the car. And then the LED light just runs across the back, which looks really cool. A Zeekr logo illuminates as well. I don't know if it's going to illuminate in the UK when it does eventually come, but it illuminates on this one. They're not sure when it'll come, but we're thinking about 2024 when it'll come to the UK. And if we also open the boot, electronically controlled, we get plenty of space. You're looking at 539 litres of space in here. Doesn't matter which trim level you go for, that's what you're going to be getting. And it's plenty of space, easy to get in, big wide open space to get into the boot itself. And there's a little storage location here as well, which you can use to store your charging cables. Talking about charging cables, it has a 22 kilowatts onboard charging, and this is also capable of fast charge as well. You're looking at 200 kilowatts charging, but there's plenty of space in here. You can even adjust the height level as well, just to make it easy to get inside and outside of the car as well, which is pretty neat. And then you can also press this button here to drop the seats back. I can pull that, the seats drop, so you can easily fit a bit more inside the car as well, which is pretty neat. So plenty of space in terms of how practical this is. It's ticking plenty of boxes. It's looking really good so far. As always, does he have a frunk? Yes, we do. We've got a tiny little space there to store your cable. And I love that they've tidied the whole place as well. Nicely labeled for batteries over there, your washers over there. But yeah, it's good to have that extra space just to put your charging cables. Like I was saying, the charging ports is interesting as well. You press it and that sort of pops open for you like so. And then there's a little button here as well where we'll press that and that automatic cap just covers that space back up right for you. At first it takes a bit of getting used to because you're not sure which side to press, but it's that side. So you press it and it does the job for you, which is pretty cool. I like that. I like little snazzy automated things on cars. And then we get that two-tone sort of color. So the top half is got this piano black color and a panoramic sunroof, which goes all the way to the back as well. Looks really nice. And I think overall they've done really well when it comes to the design of the car. I think it looks really good, looks premium. And if I'm going to be parting ways with 67,000 euros, I think the design is done really well. It looks very modern, very young, and looks fantastic. Let's look on the inside, starting with the back seat. Right, in the back seat, it feels very comfortable and premium in here. And the thing is, most manufacturers, while they spend so much time making the front cabin look very good and premium and stuff like that, what Zeekr have done here is make sure that the back is also the same experience. So the passenger feel the same way the front passengers feel. And the way they've managed to achieve that is through the materials that's been used, like this Alcantara microfiber cloth material used here. You got a big panoramic sunroof as well. And even the seats just feels really nice and comfortable. You also get heated seats here, which is really good. I think with this being the privilege trim level, you get in the full whack of every extras that you can possibly get. One thing that's interesting, you get your armrest here. So there's a little tab that we pull for that. Once you've pulled that, there we go. It takes a bit of getting used to. You just have to pull it, then pull the armrest down. So you've got a little space here to store things, maybe your mobile phone if you wish to do so. It's got nice soft material in there. You've got two cup holders here. We have two buttons here, but not just here either. It's also available here, which I'll show you what that does. So you can also recline the seat. So I can move the seat forward like so. Makes it extra comfortable by reclining it back. So we can push the seat all the way back, which is really nice. I think that's a really nice little addition to that. So not only are you getting heated seats, you're also able to recline those. One thing that's also cool though, is this front seat here, if there's no one there or you need to move it or anything like that, there's also a button here that allows me to move the seat forward like so, which is really nice. I can even move just the backrest. So if I wanna move that all the way out of the way so I can, get more knee room than I already have, I can do that just from sitting at the back. One thing that's strange though, these two buttons aren't available on that side, but it's also not strange because you don't really want to disturb the driver because the driving seat is going to be set for the driver, so you don't want to move that at all, to be fair. So that makes sense, to be honest. You've got a coal hanger here, you've got little ventilation there as well. And on this side, we have this like e-ink material here to control things like your heated seats, the air conditioning at the back. You can control that. You can control music as well. Go back. You can also control the lighting and the ambience color in here. This is like a full color spectrum that you can go through, and the ambient lighting in here changes accordingly. You can change the brightness level and all that stuff. It's not something that you see that often in many cars on the market today. If the armrest is fully up, you can also control the seat to go backwards and forwards using the touch button as well. So there's a little touch area there to control that as well, which is really cool. For charging, we can pull that down. We have one full USB port and one USB-C port. The USB-C port is 60 watts, so you're going to be charging your devices very quickly using that as well. And we have a flat flooring in the middle, so if you want to fit someone in the middle as a passenger, you can also do that and they can sit there comfortably well with no issues at all. So I think all in all, they've nailed it in terms of the space available in here. Look at that, plenty of knee room. I can move the seat backwards and forwards. The headroom is more than plenty. I'm 5'11" and sit here comfortably well for a long period of time, long journey. It's really nice, and I think job well done at the back here. In the front cabin, the story continues. We have plenty of premium quality here. The stitching, the Alcantara leather continues here, and we have plenty of technology here. This display is very big. We're looking at 15.4 inch display. We have 8.8 inch instrument cluster and a 14.7 head-up display as well. So they are very big, so you can see everything nice and clearly. I love that the head-up display is standard on this, which is really good. But some things here doesn't sit right with me. For example, the touch capacitive buttons here, they're very finicky to play with, and it's not something that I really like in cars in general. This is actually running on Yamaha sound system as well, which is new for me in a car, but they've got some sort of partnership going on already previous to this, so it makes sense that they go with Yamaha to offer something that sounds really good, and boy does it sound really good as well. There's lots of like little copper or bronze detail all around the car here. You can see some of it there, you can see some of it on the steering and stuff like that. We've got Zeekr logo on there. We have 2 cup holders here. We have a space there for our smartphone. And in here, there's another space which has 2 USB-C ports to charge your devices and plug them in. And it just looks really good. I think this is nicely balanced for both the passenger sat on that side and the driver as well, so you can both sort of see what's going on and control things as well. It's actually a funny thing. There's a button here which opens up the parcel shelf like so, but it doesn't also close it, so you have to then reach over and close that like so. But yeah, you have heated seats here, heated steering as well, I believe. I'm not sure how to operate that on here. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out on the steering itself. The instrument cluster is quite static. There's not much you can actually do there, but it gives you all the information you need, like your tire pressure, how much battery life you have left, the speed you're going at, and your energy consumption. On the main display here, we can play with it and do different things. For example, you can slide across and also add different widgets on the main screen. One thing that this reminds me of is it's very Tesla-esque in terms of what you can do on here and the way the layout actually is. So at the bottom there, we have all our quick menu. So your climate controls there, that's never going to move anywhere. Volume control, heated seat control, back to home button, and then your car settings as well. So in car settings, like I said, straight away, this reminds me of what you'd get in a Tesla Model 3. For example, my Model 3, you got a quick settings option there for streaming media, steering wheel, head-up display settings, and you can also save whatever settings you have. So like your steering wheel settings, your seat settings, and all that kind of stuff. So here we can go into seat setting. We can have massage here as well, which is in the privileged version. You got seat adjustment to adjust the cushion, the lumbar support, and all that stuff. We have lighting settings, so the back row light settings, ambient lighting, all that stuff, the brightness levels. We have our doors and window settings, charging and discharging, so you can see your energy consumption. You can schedule your charging and preheat, all that kind of stuff. You've got heat pump in there as standard as well, so again, good for efficiency. We'll talk about all that when we're on the road driving about in Sweden. We have one pedal drive system on here as well, which is really good. And then we go to our intelligent driving system, which is all your ADAS system on here, so we can see things like lane departure warning. A lot of the settings you can't actually turn on and off here. There's not much you can do to some of them, but they are there and they help you to make sure that this is nicely secure on the road. But you do get things like automatic preventive braking systems there, over your speed limit warning. You got speed and road turn recognition as well. You got automated parking system, which allows you to park automatically if you find the right spot. And you got your safety and security. For camera, we can record 1080p videos here. We have an 8 megapixel camera, which is situated up there. You also have that glove box pin protection as well. Again, something you find in the Tesla. So yeah, so we got so many different things, connectivities there. This is actually running on a Qualcomm chip in there, which fills me with confidence. That's someone that I know that they make a good processor. Your sound systems there, you can do things like equalizer settings if you know what you're doing. Notification, you got voice control, which has this little animation. You can change the animation as well to different sort of things. You can have a man or woman and stuff like that. Because this supports over-the-air updates, they might be able to update that, add more fun stuff over time if you wish to do so. And then you can press that to show you all the applications that's available. You got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and then we have a camera as well, which is that 8 megapixel camera. And hey, you can see ourselves there. So this one you can do time lapse, you can record videos, photos, you can take photos at intervals as well, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's just extra fun in the car to record yourself. Maybe on a road trip, you can record yourself having some fun, doing some in-car karaoke sort of vibe. You got Zeekr Store, so you can download more things and add to your system. This is actually a pre-production model, so it still has a bit of lag here and there. So when you press things, it doesn't always show up straight away. But other than that, I think on the full version, this will work really well and it's nice and fluid and it's not overwhelming. It's straightforward. You can also drag down as well to see quick settings like your wireless LAN. You can adjust your side mirrors, open the trunk and all that kind of stuff. Your boot, not your trunk. We're not in America. And you have different drive modes. You have comfort, eco, sports. You can customize it as well. You got snow, sand, and off-road mode as well. So you can raise the height of the car, which we did in the boot, but you can also do that here in the settings as well. So you can raise the height of the car, so it allows you to do things like off-roading and all that kind of stuff. But that's pretty much it. I think it's really nice and comfortable here. It doesn't feel too cramped, and you can adjust the seat, do the lumbar supports and all that stuff, and get as comfortable as you want to be in front of the car. But yeah, job well done up front as well. So Out on the road, we are in Gothenburg, so we're going to be driving around Sweden today, which is really nice. I've never driven in Sweden before, so it's actually quite interesting to see how the road networks. It's kind of different to the rest of Europe and even driving in London and all that kind of stuff. But that's not that important for this video. Like I was saying at the start of this video, we have 3 different versions of this, so trim level. So you have the long range, the performance, and the privilege. The privilege still sounds very odd in terms of name to me, but I'm sure they know what they're doing in terms of the markets that this will be going to and how people would welcome that sort of naming scheme. But anyway, the difference is the long range will give you obviously longer range. I think it's over 600 kilometers that you get on the WLTP versus 560 or so that you get in the performance and this particular privilege version. With the long range as well, that's also rear wheel drive only. So you don't get the all wheel drive that you get on the performance and this version here. So I think for me, I'd probably go performance or this particular version because you get a lot more for your money. And you don't really lose out on the range because I think that's still more than enough for what I would do in the car. The torque's better as well, obviously on the performance and this version. The torque's better, the 0 to 62, it's 3.8 seconds in this versus the long range, which gives you 7.2 seconds or so. So you get in performance and range put into one in a package in this version if you were to go for one of these cars. So that's what I would go for personally. They have simple amount of color variants available, like the white one, the black one, and the blue one that was shot for this video. If there are other colors available, I'm not completely sure, but those are the colors that I saw. And I think there's a gray one as well. So you have some color options available, but they're keeping them nice and simple, just like Tesla would when you buy Tesla. There's not many color options. So they're keeping the options nice and simple for you. This is actually quite heavy of a car. I mean, it's carrying around 100 kilowatts battery in there, so it's a big battery that you get in here, kilowatt hour battery, sorry. So it's a big battery that you're lugging around. This is more than 2 tons in terms of the weight. But again, numbers will be on the screen for you guys to actually look at to compare if you want to compare them. In terms of performance, the all-wheel drive version, this one will give you that continuous adaptive suspension. So as you're driving, it's continually just adjusting to the road ahead and making sure that you feel as comfortable as possible. The steering feels really nicely weighted as well, speed dependent. You have 1 pedal drive option. I think in terms of practicality, this is really good. Fast charging speeds, you got a big battery with long range on here as well. In terms of space available in the car, plenty of space available. Visibility is great as well. I love what they've done with the steering wheel, which means it doesn't matter where I position the steering wheel, you're able to see the instrument cluster very clearly. And if you don't see that, the head-up display is nice and bright, nice and big to see all the important information that you need to see as you're driving along. When it comes to the performance, you have different drive modes on here. So we have the comfort mode as we're driving in right now, and we can switch to eco and sport, etc. Yeah, so if I put in a sports mode, just to see if anything happens differently. 1 pedal drive gets cancelled straight away because it's no longer needed. Steering feels a lot stiffer, and also the suspension feels a bit stiffer as well. So you can feel the speed bumps here a bit more as soon as you stick into sport mode because it's ready to hit the road and be as aggressive as it can be. I mean, we're looking at 3.8 seconds. Oh my God. Yeah, that feels very responsive, feels very good, even for such a heavy car as well. It just feels really nice. At the moment, the way we're driving, there's no cornering as such, yeah, so we're going to test that as we drive a bit further on this road. But on a straight road, nice and steady, nice and comfortable, nice and smooth, really good. Even in sport mode, is really nice. When it comes to the handling of the car, I think the handling is great as well. I think it's very agile, so you can throw it around. It's very nimble as well. You point it, it goes there. And all these bendy roads, these windy roads here, it fills you with a lot of confidence, just throwing it around the bends, and the brake's good as well. So if there's any oncoming car that just appears out of nowhere, you can easily just tap the brake and you feel nice and safe. They've done a really good job at making sure that this drives really well. I think the only thing I'd say though is this touch capacitive buttons on this steering, I'm not a fan of at all. Visibility is great though, loads of safety features as well, like lane keep assist, for example, works really well, there's no problems there at all. I've turned off the audio signaling for when I go over my speed limit and stuff like that, so because it just became super annoying because the speeds change very quickly here. But in terms of the driving performance, I think job well done, it feels really nice, especially in sports mode as well. I can just put my foot down and it just goes. I can easily overtake. I think top speed in this is about 200 kilometers per hour, which when it does come to the UK, that's way more than you need to drive around the UK, even on the motorway. But yeah, you'll feel comfortable driving around. The screen is nice and big, it's nice and visible. Head-up display looks great as well. I think they've thought about everything. They've put together all the learnings and put it into a car. That's a really great package in terms of driving, practicality, design and styling, and pricing as well. I think 67,000 euros. I could part ways with this. I think the only people that wouldn't is probably people who don't really know much about the brand, and people that prefer a much more known brand, especially where I'm from in London. People prefer brands like your BMWs, your Audi, etc. But don't let that put you off, because actually this is a really good package, I would say, for that price point. For such a heavy car as well, there's minimal body roll. I was driving another car the other day, which I won't mention the name of it. But comparing the body roll that you get in that compared to this, there's barely anything in this, and it just, honestly, just rolling around these corners here at speed, it just feels really good and comfortable, and fills you with confidence, like I said already. For such a heavy car as well, you can really throw it around, and it just does what you want it to do. This is in sport mode, and even in normal mode as well, it still does the same level of handling just the way you want it to be, which is really good. Visibility, like I said, is really good. Adjust the mirrors and you're good to go. But yeah, really, really good drive experience. As a first impression for me, it's really good. Comfortability is there as well, feels nice and comfortable. Obviously, these aren't UK roads where we get a lot more speed bumps and rough roads and stuff like that. These are smooth roads, which you might get in the other markets that this is going to. But if you're going to be driving around the Netherlands like Amsterdam and stuff, I don't know how this is going to feel in terms of comfortability. But it's got 22-inch alloys on there, which produces more road noise, unfortunately. As you're driving around, we can hear a bit more of the road. But other than that, I think it's done really well. Even with those big rims, it still handles pretty well. So yeah, I have nothing bad to say really about the driving experience. It feels really nice, and even Khalik is enjoying his smooth drive experience in the back, and he's not experiencing much body roll either. And with that reclining seat to the back, you can just sit down there and just be comfortable. Over to you, let me know what you think. Drop your questions there, I'll do my best to answer those. I'm looking forward to seeing this on the UK roads when they do decide to bring it over, hopefully by 2024, 2025. But you can pre-order this right now if you're living in places like the Netherlands or Sweden. You can pre-order them now for December delivery, because I was playing around with the configurator last night, and delivery was looking at December. So it's not that bad either. So get involved, have a look, and if you need more convincing, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to answer your questions. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.